The Minecraft Championship is a Minecraft event that likely needs no introduction. The event pits popular Minecraft creators like Dream, Green, Rambo, and more against each other in a head-to-head minigame tournament. It had more humble beginnings, with the first MCC struggling to fill the roster of players, and one team even have to play a player down in the first game. Since then, MCC has exploded in popularity, becoming a staple in the Minecraft community. MCC has evolved in many ways throughout the years, with one of the ways it's changed being its game selection, and more specifically, its scoring. With the way the event is formatted, the scoring for each game is important to make sure that the event runs well, and that everything is fair and balanced. And with that, there have been many times when scoring has been changed, either when teams score too much, teams score too little, or the game is revamped entirely. Because of that, I decided it would be fun to see how MCC 1 would have changed with these scoring updates. I now have a several page long Excel document where I update the scoring for each MCC. As a result of this, I decided I wanted to do an analysis series where I re-simulate each MCC up to pat with recent scoring changes for each game, with the purpose being to see what changes, what stays the same, and to discuss if this means anything. Now, this introduction has gone on long enough, so let's go ahead and see what would happen if the first MCC happened today. Starting off with the first game of MCC 1, we have Parkour Warrior, where there haven't been any changes. Okay, that's a lie. There have been changes, but they aren't changes which affect this MCC, so we'll skip past this one and get to Game 2. Game 2 is Footrace, where I decided to use the new Season 2 Ace Race scoring. This is because, functionally, Ace Race and Footrace are the same game, but with different mechanics, and even had the same scoring in Season 1, and so the updated Ace Race scoring works seamlessly with Footrace. This doesn't change the placements from this game, but with the new bonuses added in Ace Race, this does change the team score and the overall coins earned both individually and team-wise. Looking at how each team scores in this game, we can see that Lime gains a much larger lead in this game thanks to the bonuses, which results in them gaining a 1,000 point lead over second overall. In addition to this, Quig's second place bonus helps to boost his team, the Green Guardians, up to 5th in the game when they originally tied with 6th, meaning that there is a slightly less of a gap between them and the teams in front. In terms of overall individual standings, Florian ends up dropping to 8th due to the players above him gaining new bonuses, and they all move up one spot. Additionally, Deathrace actually switches places with Captain Sparkles individually thanks to these bonuses. There are other minor placement changes similar to this due to the new scoring, but there isn't anything major to really discuss. Game 3 is Rocket's Belief, and here we see some more substantial changes. For this game, it only made sense to use the Rocket's Belief Rush scoring due to the two games being very similar. With this new scoring, Captain Sparkle still takes first due to his consistent survival, but his score goes from 495 coins to a whopping 700 coins flat due to Rocket's Belief Rush's larger coin distribution. Filza and Ryga Rocky still place second and third, though Phil outplaces Rye instead, as Phil did better in survival rather than in kills. However, the biggest change in individual placement is 4th and 5th, as instead of Burn and Florian, who originally placed top 5 due to gaining a large amount of kills, Quig and Eric placed top 5 instead due to gaining more points from survival, while Michael and Pete end up top fragging on their teams at 6th and 7th respectively. Aside from these more obvious changes, some individual placements are changed around due to kills being worth less and survival being worth more. All of this causes a much larger coin differential, with Purple taking first by 1,700 multiplied coins. Yellow also moves up to second due to survival, and Green remains 4th but closes the gap between them and Lime. Surprisingly, even with Eric's top 5, Pink places lower due to this team gaining more of the points from kills originally, though it should be noted that the difference between 7th and 5th here is much closer than it originally was. This doesn't change much in the overall team placements, with the exception of Aqua moving above Red, though the coin gap between Purple and Green is evidently closer, while Lime still has a larger lead over second. Individually, Pete still holds first, while with Quig hard on his heels. Filzer, Captain Sparkles, and Raga Rocky jump up from 6th, 7th, and 8th to 3rd, 4th, and 5th due to Rocket Spleef Rush's scoring, and Burn and Florian drop a bit since they no longer place top 5 in Rocket Spleef, with Kretzy and Burn actually tied in coins when originally Burn was ahead. Effectively, Lime no longer has to secure dominance of the individual board at this time, with there being more variety in the top 10. Game 4 is Lockout Bingo, where the scoring doesn't change. As far as I know, there haven't been any major changes to Bingo scoring in either version, but even if there was, this version of Bingo only had each item available to be crafted 3 times instead of 5, so different scoring might not work as well for this game. With that said, I'll only be talking about the standings after this game. Green's great performance in this game has allowed him to majorly catch up to Lime, despite Lime still having a larger lead originally. They also gain a slightly larger lead of a 3rd as well. Pete and Quig still hold on the top 2 individually, though Pete isn't 2 behind Quig now. But since Lime was more spread out going to this game, they don't have 3 players in the top 4, and while Vic does go up from 6th to 4th between games, Phil still holds it in 3rd, while Ryaguy and Jordan stay up at 5th and 6th. As Rug got 3rd here, Scott moves up quite a bit to 7th instead of 9th. Finally, both Dave and Burren moved down as they did originally, but since they were already tied, and Lockout Bingo was a coin split game, they still remain tied at 9th. Game 5 is Hole in the Wall, where a new change with the coins for winning the round, as well as 2nd and 3rd placing players in each round getting coin bonuses too. The main results of this are Michael, Dave, and Shubble having lower scores for this game, as the win bonus is only 100 coins now, as opposed to the 300 it was originally. This does sadly cause Dave to drop to 10th for this game, as his 2nd and 3rd rounds were not as good as his 1st, but Michael and Shubble still remain 1st and 2nd, just with quite a bit less coins. The additional bonuses also boost up a couple players, with Quig, Tankmat, and Michael McChill, in addition to his 1st coins, getting the coin bonus for 3rd, and JC the Caster and Littlewood gained the coin bonuses for 2nd. These bonuses do boost their players up a little bit, with the bonuses even being enough for JC to jump to 4th and Quig to jump to 6th. The individual coins are the same for everyone who didn't manage to get a bonus, however. This changes the team scores for this game a little bit. Firstly, since Purple doesn't have an insane lead despite still being 1st, but also with Green falling to 4th since the win bonus is not as high, so Pink and Cyan, who got additional placement bonuses, move up to 2nd and 3rd. The team coins are however the same from 5th onwards. For the overall team standings, Purple's win in Hole in the Wall is not enough for them to jump to 1st, which it was originally, and so Green moves to 1st ahead of Lime, who remain in 2nd. Yellow also has a higher score, so they're not as far behind 3rd, and while the rest of the placements are the same, Cyan's score is much closer to Aqua's here. Individually, the winners of the rounds in Hole in the Wall are not boosted as high individually, though Michael still jumps to 3rd, Dave jumps to 8th, and Shovel to 10th. Ryaguy, Phil, and Jordan get mostly pushed out of the top 5, though they still hold their places in the top, which they originally didn't hold at this time. Martin jumps up quite a bit to 14th from this game, and Jimmy is right behind him now. And the placements of Jamesy, JC, and Eric are closer since they all did well in Hole in the Wall. Game 6 is Skyblockel, where there aren't any scoring changes which can be made. While I did attempt to retrofit Skybow's scoring for this game, there's really no way to do it without the points still being unbalanced, so I left the coins the same here. With that aside, the overall team placements are the same, but say it with me, the coins are different. Without their stronger Hole in the Wall, Purple is only leading by 1,000 coins instead of 2,000. Green is also only ahead of Lime by about 1,000 coins, when they originally had more of a lead. Yellow has more coins, and the coin difference between Pink and Aqua is tiny compared to the original difference at this point. Back on the individual side of things, Quig maintains his 1st with a pretty decent lead over Dave in 2nd, but Dave is catching up with his performance in Skyblockel. Pete is still holding 3rd thanks to his performance in earlier games. Ryaguy and Captain are also in the top 5 and 10 respectively for similar reasons. Florian isn't as high as he originally was since he was lower going into this game, and H-Bomb moves to a high position due to the top 10 being closer. Scott and Phil are also higher than originally at this point, so Kara isn't in the top 12, at least for now. Game 7 is to get to the other side before the Whack-A-Fan by using Modern to get to the other side and Whack-A-Fan scoring. Points are increased for the higher players and decreased for the lower players due to there being more coins awarded to get to the other side because of the individual bonuses and the multiple team bonuses, whilst the normal placement coins are half. Pete and Dave are still top 2 in this game, though a lot of placements following them are shifted around due to the bonuses. While you can see them here, I'll take note of the major ones, namely Michael and Burren getting boosted to top 7, Raph taking Scott's place in the top 10, Scott, Lizzie and Joel all placed in the 11th to 13th range, and then finally some players get boosted to top 20 while others fall out of it. The team placements are largely the same, though with a larger range of coins, with first having 1.5k multiplied, while 10th has 250 coins. Overall standings are also the same in terms of placements, but coins are slightly different, with lime having less of a gap to green, and same with yellow to lime and green. Individually, Quig is still holding on to first, and that plus other factors bumps Dave, Michael and Burren down a place each. Pete's also still in third, especially after getting first in the last game. Ryguy is similarly still in 5th, and Phil moves back up to the top 10 after the last game. Shovel is sadly no longer in the top 10, but H-Bomb has managed to rise to 7th. Vic moves over Florian, and Captain Sparkles is still in the top 11 despite doing not as well in recent games. The final game of this MCC is Survival Games, where I have to start with a disclaimer related to how I calculate airdrops. As modern Survivor Games scoring has coins for each airdrop collected, I would then give points for airdrops collected in early MCCs. However, there would usually be at most 3 airdrops collected. While I could just leave it at the normal amount, my main goal for this series is to see large scale changes happen in different MCCs, so I decided to distribute the remaining airdrops to a maximum of 5 airdrops between the teams originally in 3rd and lower, with more emphasis on teams closer to Dodgebolt, in order to see if different teams could make Dodgebolt. I will show the game scores without the additional airdrops though. With that said, there are definitely multiple changes for this game. The scoring changes and additional airdrops have boosted both Pink and Green, with Pink having all of its players in the top 10, and Green having all of theirs in the top 16. This results in Eric getting 3rd above Pete, Quirk moving up to 5th, James Ski and Scott Griswold making the top 9 despite dying early, and for some players like Raph, Scott, and Take Matt to sadly fall to lower placements due to individual survival not being worth as much. In terms of teams, Pink takes first from Lime with a very respectable 2,000 coin total, though Lime still keeps second with 1,462 coins. The airdrop coins boost Green into 3rd, right behind Lime by about 230 coins are multiplied. Purple outplaces Yellow as Kara lasted pretty long into the round and helped her team get a higher team placement bonus despite 3 of them dying early, and Orange similarly outplaces Blue as Cupquake lasts long enough to get the 9th place team bonus over Blue. And now that the final game is done, let's get to the final results, starting with the final individual leaderboard. Quig still keeps his original first placement, but with a much higher and impressive coin score. With this new scoring, Quig never drops out of the top 6 in any game, completely dominating the event individually. In our first change, Pete outplaces both Dave and Michael to get 2nd, his early first in both Parkour Warrior and the boosted Footrace, plus a top 10 in Rocket Spleef, boosted first place to get to the side, and 4th place in Survivor Games allows him to get into the front early and stay there for most of the event, remaining in the top 3 for the whole event. Ryguy also gets boosted up to 6th, taking Shovel's original spot. The higher coin totals in Rocket Spleef and to get to the side really help both his and Phil's individual score, with Phil also placing 10th. Shovel sadly suffered from the reduction in hole-in-the-wall points, not being able to make the top 10 this time. Burren also manages to make the top 10, with the main reason I believe for this being SG not being as punishing for him getting killed early, as his placements were pretty consistent with how he originally did up to that point. H-Bomb gets boosted a slight bit by placing 8th instead of tied 9th. Well, I don't think he was majorly boosted anywhere, I imagine placing top 10 to get to the side this time helped him get slightly higher. And JC places 9th. This is something I chalk up to his SG win not being worth as many coins, though as shown it's still enough to boost him to the top 10, and getting top 5 in a hole in the wall certainly helped. I'm not gonna go through every individual placement outside the top 10 since that would take too long, but some notable changes, for both good and bad reasons, are Scott in 11th, Florian in 12th, Jordan in 14th, Lizzie in 26th, and Zeus in 36th. And now for the team standings. Purple still takes first here, but my aim of causing more changes in SG has resulted in green phasing them in Dodgeball as opposed to lime, though obviously if I didn't do this, lime would have made it. Yellow manages to maintain a 5th place finish since SG wasn't as punishing for them, and conversely, Cyan doesn't get that much of a boost from it and finishes in 7th. So with the final results tallied, let's get to Dodgeball. While there's things to talk about here, this will not always be the case if the teams that made Dodgeball are the same, so keep that in mind. The most obvious thing to note here is that there have been no scoring changes to Dodgeball, and while the game has been changed to make it best of 5 instead of best of 3, that's a change which only serves to make Dodgeball more unpredictable here. So as a result, there's no easy way to say who wins, so I want to leave that up to you, the viewing audience, to decide who wins. Leave a comment down below on which team you think will win Dodgeball and why. So that's the end of this analysis. I'm already intending on continuing this series, but if this video gets 100 likes, I will work on getting the next video as soon as possible, with an estimate of give or take 2 weeks at the most, depending on how IRL things go for me. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications if you'd like to catch the next analysis when it debuts. And if you'd like, you can check out my Twitter and Twitch in the description below. I will give my updates on Twitter and will occasionally try to make funny tweets, while on my Twitch you can catch me streaming games and other content, and you can pop in the chat if you want updates on the next video too. And with all of that out of the way, I'll catch you all in the next video, and until then, take care.